Okay, well this is the half of the big end now out of the WD2. The crank, wheels nice and free, there's no resistance there, so that should be fine. You can see the tiny little minuscule bit of end flow. So the tight spot is either in the big end or in the piston itself. So I am going to have to take the piston out, which is a bit daunting with these big engines. I've never attempted to get this big piston ring back in without a piston ring compressor, so that'd be a little bit daunting, but we should see if we can get it done. If not, I'll have to see if somebody can come around and give me a hand maybe. But this is the one half of the big end fresh out of the engine. I haven't actually even cleaned it off yet, but it doesn't look too bad. I'll just clean it off and then we can see what it's like. Okay, so cleaned one end of the big end off, and it doesn't look badly scratched. There's something going on here. I have to get some pictures of it up close, but almost looks like some dig marks in this side. So it sits in the engine like that, and on this side it's perfectly smooth, but on the other side, flywheel side, you've got what looks like could potentially be a little bit of a high spot, which could be what's causing a bit of the tightness. I'll get some pictures of that. I've also just cleaned off a bit of the crank, and I'll get a picture of that as well, and see what people think. The piston at the moment is nearly at the top, and I can't actually really assess the condition, but just running my fingernail over it, I can't feel any scores, so it's in a similar condition to this one, I should imagine. I don't know if these are the engine's originals or if they were replaced when it was rebored or what was going on, but at least I think I can get away with not having to take the crankshaft out. That's nice and free, that is. Yeah, we should be alright there. We should be able to get away with that. Anyway, let's see what's going on. See if we can get some close-up pictures of this. Let's see how well the piston moves with just me pushing it up and down. Just see if it's definitely a tight spot in the piston before I think of removing it. God dear, it's windy out there. Okay, well, I was just pushing the piston down and it seems to get tight there. So it's definitely something in the piston. Whether it's just something on the bore, I don't know. Who knows, there's plenty of oil on it. But that's as far as I got. Just pushing it down without trying to put too much force on the old girl. Right, anyway, let's take some pictures of these first, just see what people think, and then I'll see about getting the old piston out. See what's what. Okay, I've just done a bit more cylinder honing with some very fine WD-40, sprayed a bit in there whilst honing, and also sprayed a bit on the bore before honing and on the stones, and it seems to be doing something. Look at that, that is a lot better. That looks like a normal bore, starting to. Still got a little bit on that side, but I just tried the piston and it did actually go in a little bit now. So it's getting there. and it has a nice feel to it. Sort of, I suppose you're supposed to get a sort of cross-hatchety sort of effect, and got some sort of effect there. God knows, I don't know. Well, it's got to be better than being tight, surely. So I'll give it another go. Probably give it another go tomorrow now. If I can spend the rest of the evening just checking the piston and running a few more checks on the connecting rod to try and establish if that's straight. But I think cylinder honing is going to be the way forward. I think that's how we're going to get this piston to slide in there easily. Fingers crossed then that the connecting rod is straight. Let's hope. It's been quite a long time since we had any update on the Wolseley WD2, mainly because I got the Cobra on, which I've been working on, but I've had to stop working on that for a little while whilst I'm waiting for some bits and bobs. I need a 34mm socket, I think it is, to get the flywheel off the Cobra, which I think Make Do Amend one has one that he's going to bring up next time, so should be able to get the flywheel off and then can get some more work done to it. But as you can see, some bits of the WD2 have been completely stripped of their paint, and I've had a first coat of red oxide primer. It's quite warm today, so it's actually pretty much completely dried. Yep. I was quite surprised how easy the tag is to remove off of this crankcase door, sort of inspection cover, slash for the oil filler and the dipstick there. How easy it is to remove that. I've seen loads of ones where people have had to mask them off and everything, but to paint it. But I just took mine off on the opposite side here. The holes go straight through. There's two little sort of like pins, and if you just gently tap on the back of those, they'll lift out, and then you can lift the tag off. So I've been able to polish up the tag. It's really clean now and nice and shiny. You can see all the information there. Serial number 11062, 1945 if I remember correctly. 1.5 horsepower, WD2, 700 RPM. So the tag came up really nice, as did the brass wing nut, which threads on there to hold the filler cap on, which is here. That's had a coat of paint. That's pretty much dry now as well. We've also cleaned up the carburetor. Top of it there is brass, so that's again been cleaned lightly with wire wool and then polished up. It's had a lot of nicks in it where people have used various things to undo it, and the top nut is pretty well ruined, but should be okay. I've sort of like just put it on there finger tight. Gives a good enough seal. We've also wire wooled this and polished it up, so actual float bowl looks quite nice, and the float is still in there. But yeah, that's I already started putting a little bits for painting yesterday, stripping them off because weather forecast said it was going to be quite a nice day, so I thought I'd go ahead and have a go and see how much paint I can get stripped off and see what I can get painted up. But the hardest thing to do, if I do actually end up doing it, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it at the moment, is to paint the letter in a different colour to what the engine's going to be painted. I found what could be the original colour on some of the sections when I was stripping off the paint. It was sort of like a really sort of light grey. So I don't know, maybe I've got a few colours in mind, and one of the colours in mind is grey. Not to everybody's liking on the WD2, but I quite like them in grey, so I might do it in grey, but I might choose a bit more of a fancy colour. Anyway, there you go. That's a little bit of an update on where we are with the WD2. So the actual block itself is still covered in paint, and the old piston still doesn't fit in the bore. Oh dear, what a nightmare. So yeah, I sort of, last thing I'd done to this was actually honing it out a little bit, and then I sort of gave up. But we'll press on with a bit more of this and see if we can get some more paint stripped off of some other parts, and go from there. Okay, we have a couple more parts of the WD2 primed. Got the rocker, well actually not the rocker, just the valve chest cover painted, and also the flywheel stripped on both sides, and the back in its first coat of primer. I haven't primed around this edge, as you'll probably notice, and I'm not going to prime here because I'm hoping to be able to, when the engine's running, to strip that all back. I have stripped as much of the paint off of it as I can, but it's quite pitted, so there's a fair bit of paint in the pit still. I might have to go around with a scalpel and dig them out before I can actually use some sandpaper when the engine's running to clean that off. But yeah, I'm quite happy that I got the flywheel stripped. That's what I think is going to be one of the hardest parts to do. Got my 2 cylinder heads down here. This is going to be the one that I use probably. That's going to be very easy to strip the paint off. The other one I'll probably sell, along with tank brackets and a petrol tank as well, if anybody's interested. Yeah, well, there we go.